The river never wrote back.
The River Road. The town of Ophubi sits where two rivers meet and argue. One is brown and fast, called Aji. The other is quiet and green, called Udo. The people say Aji takes and Udo gives. Between them runs River Road, a stretch of red earth lined with flame trees and small houses that lean into each other, like old friends. At the very end of River Road, past the primary school with a cracked bell, stood a yellow house with green windows. That was where Adora lived. She was 39, a schoolteacher with a voice that made children sit up straight and a smile that had learned to arrive late. Adora had a husband named Ikena once. He built bridges. He said concrete was poetry if you listen close enough. They had one daughter, Kamsi. Kamsi had her father's long legs and her mother's stubborn eyebrows. At 7, Kamsi could name every bird that landed on their fence. At 9, she could braid her mother's hair without pulling. At 10, she died. A rainy Tuesday, a road that did not drain well. The newspapers called it an accident. Adora called it the day Aji took more than it should. Ikena did not come home after the burial. He left a note on the kitchen table. It said only, _I cannot build over this _. He went to Port Harcourt to build bridges for strangers. He sent money every month. He never sent himself. The letters. 1 year after Kamsi died, the letters started. They came in blue envelopes with no return address. The first one arrived on Kamsi's birthday. Inside was a drawing of a flame tree and a single sentence written in a child's handwriting. _Mummy, the river here is green, _. Adora screamed. Then she locked the letter in her wardrobe. They kept coming. Every month. Sometimes a drawing of a bird. Sometimes a pressed hibiscus. Sometimes only words. _I miss your jollof rice. The bridge here is tall. Do you still sing to the plants? _. The letters. 1 year after Kamsi died, the letters started. They came in blue envelopes with no return address. The first one arrived on Kamsi's birthday. Inside was a drawing of a flame tree and a single sentence written in a child's handwriting. _Mummy, the river here is green, _. Adora screamed. Then she locked the letter in her wardrobe. They kept coming. Every month. Sometimes a drawing of a bird. Sometimes a pressed hibiscus. Sometimes only words. _I miss your jollof rice. The bridge here is tall. Do you still sing to the plants? _. The boy with the bicycle. Chuka was 16. He lived 3 houses down, with his grandmother who sold akara by the roadside. Chuka had a rusty bicycle and a habit of fixing things. He fixed the school bell when the hammer broke. He fixed Adora's door when the wood swelled in the rains. He never asked for payment. He only asked questions with his eyes. Chuka noticed that Adora walked to the post office every 15th of the month. She never mailed anything. She only stood outside for 10 minutes and came back with empty hands. He also noticed that on the 16th she cried. One evening, Chuka found a blue envelope caught in the spokes of his bicycle. It must have fallen from the postman's bag. The name on it was Adora Nwosu. The handwriting was shaky, like a child's. He was about to run it to her house when the envelope tore slightly. Inside, he saw a drawing of a bridge. He knew that bridge. It was the new one in Port Harcourt. The one on the news. The one his uncle helped build. Chuka did not take the letter to Adora. He took it to his grandmother. His grandmother took it to the pastor. The pastor took it to the police. The man who built bridges. Ikena was 42 and tired. Building bridges did not feel like poetry anymore. It felt like stacking stones so you did not have to look at the water below. He lived in a one-room apartment in Port Harcourt with a mattress, a kettle, and a wall full of drawings. Drawings of flame trees. Drawings of a small girl with stubborn eyebrows. Drawings of a yellow house. He had started writing the letters in the 2nd year.
He did not know why.
Guilt is a terrible architect. It builds rooms you cannot live in. He told himself he was writing to Kamsi, but the letters were really for Adora. He could not say _I am sorry _. So he said _the river here is green _. He never mailed them from Port Harcourt. He drove 6 hours to Enugu every month and posted them there. He thought distance would make the lie cleaner. When the police came, he did not run. He only asked, did she read them? The unopened box. The pastor brought Ikenna to Ophubi on a Saturday. The flame trees were blooming. The air smelled like rain that had not fallen yet. Adora opened the door and saw a man who looked like her husband but carried 10 years more of silence. He did not try to hug her. He placed a bag on the floor. Inside were 24 more letters, the ones he had been too afraid to mail. I thought if I gave her back to you in pieces, it would hurt less, he said. His voice was a bridge that could not hold weight. Adora did not speak. She went to her room and came back with the wooden box. She placed it between them on the floor. For 3 years, I thought my daughter was writing me from heaven, she said. For 3 years, I let myself believe Aji had changed its mind and given Udo a piece back. She opened the box. The letters smelled like time. I never opened the last 12, she said, because I started to hope they would stop. And if they stopped, it would mean she was finally resting. Ikenna knelt, not to beg, but because standing was too hard. The river's answer. They buried the letters that evening. Not in anger. In ceremony. Behind the yellow house, under the flame tree Kamsi had planted when she was 5. Adora read the first one aloud. Undervami, the river here is green. Ikenna read the last one. I am coming home when I learn how to be a father without her. Chuka stood at a distance with his bicycle. He did not understand everything, but he understood that some weights are too heavy for one person. It rained that night, the kind of rain that washes red earth into the rivers and makes them argue louder. The weight lifted. Ikenna did not move back in. Healing is not a door you walk through. It is a road you build while walking. He rented the room next to Chuka's grandmother. He started going to the site every day, but he came home every evening. He learned to cook jollof rice.
It was always too salty.
Adora never said so. She just added water and called it _bridge soup _. They started a small reading club for the children on River Road. They met under the flame tree. Ikenna taught them about concrete. Adora taught them about stories. Chuka fixed the chairs. One day, a girl named Ifeoma, 8 years old, asked Adora why she never talked about her daughter. Adora looked at Ikenna. Ikenna looked at the flame tree. Then Adora said, I had a daughter who named every bird. She would have liked you. That night, Adora opened the last letter. The one Ikenna had written but never mailed. It had no drawing. Only one line. Can we learn to live with the empty chair? She took a pen. For the first time in 3 years, she wrote back. We can, if we set it at the table. 20 years. Adora is 59 now. The yellow house has new paint. The green windows are still green. Ikenna is 62. He stopped building bridges for strangers. He builds wells in villages now. He says water is harder than concrete because it remembers every path it ever took. Chuka is 36. He owns a garage in Ophubi. He married Ifeoma. They have a daughter. Her name is Kamsi. Every January 17th, Adora, Ikenna, Chuka, Ifeoma, and little Kamsi sit under the flame tree. They do not bring letters. They bring stories. Little Kamsi is 7. She can name every bird that lands on their fence. And when the wind moves through the flame tree, Adora sometimes swears she hears a child's laugh. She does not look up to check. Some gifts are better when you do not question the giver. The rivers still argue. Aji still takes. Udo still gives. But on River Road, in the yellow house with green windows, a man and a woman have learned that grief is a river too. You cannot stop it. You can only choose what you build on its banks. They chose a table with an empty chair and always one extra plate.